Welcome, everybody, out there to Don't Pick the Scab podcast. Today, I'm thrilled to welcome Erica Wiederlight to the show, a remarkable actress, dating and sexual empowerment coach, speaker, and expert whose mission is to help people truly feel alive and embodied. Erica specializes in guiding individuals toward building epic relationships with themselves and others, blending her background in performance with deep insights into human connections and transformation. Through her coaching, Erica empowers clients to embrace their authenticity, heal from past experiences, and step confidently into new chapters of their lives. Her compassionate and energetic approach has helped countless people unlock greater joy, intimacy, and self-love. Whether you're navigating the aftermath of a divorce or seeking to rediscover your sense of self, Erica brings wisdom and actionable strategies to support your journey. Learn more about her inspiring work at wethelight.org. Erica, thanks for joining us, and let's dive into your unique perspective on recovery, growth, and thriving after divorce. Welcome to the Don't Pick the Scab podcast, with the premise of connecting men over 40 with the tools and community to thrive in their divorce recovery, either before, during, or after a divorce.
So excited. So much to talk about.
So how did you become a dating and sexual empowerment coach?
You know, I know we've talked about this before, but I always laugh because this would have been my personal nightmare. Like if I knew in high school, right? You know, like if I knew in high school, like, okay, Erica, you're going to grow up and you're going to do this. I'd be like, no, like this is no.
Growth.
Yeah, because it's so, as you know, it's so intimate putting yourself out there in the world, period, but especially in this capacity around sexual empowerment, love, dating. Like I never, how do I say this? I feel like now I actively chose this, but I didn't choose this, meaning life happened. And through my life experiences, through my like come to Jesus moments, falling to my knees type situations, I came to this work for myself, for my family, for friends. And I was like, oh, I'm so interested in this. I'm not making a career out of this. I'm just interested. This is fascinating. And from there, the breadcrumbs started to be put together into a meal that I didn't expect. But you know the deal, right? It was like, oh wow, I feel in a place of such darkness that nothing can help me. And when this work was helping me and transforming me, it's like, how can I not share this? Not even with the world at first, but like with people I love and my community. And then from there, it was like, how can I not share this with the world?
Shout from the top of the mountain.
Literally.
Yeah. So how did your background in acting influence your coaching approach?
Oh my God, that's such a good question. And that's so funny because that was part of my resistance. Because everyone's like, oh my God, you're like, you're doing coaching. You know, like I'd have people over and do like coaching, quote unquote, coaching sessions or group coaching. I was like, no, I'm an actress. Like I was so resistant to separate. I'm like, no. This is two different things. Oh my God, it definitely informs my work. And for me, right, like my coaching, but also a big part of what I love to do with this work is speaking. So it goes hand in hand. And I think for me, I actually was speaking with a woman yesterday and she's like, you know why I really love your flavor of this work is you're so authentically yourself. And how do I say this? Like, I feel you makes a very uncomfortable topic comfortable. And for me, that's where I like to bridge the gap that I always say to everyone, I'm like, this work is for everyone. And I try to make it accessible. And I think acting helped me with that, right? Because acting, so much of it is be authentically yourself, be vulnerable, be transparent. And so because I have so much expertise in that, it helped me kind of connect the dots.
So why is embodiment, and what is embodiment, so important for recovering from divorce?
Oh, I love that question. So embodiment, we could make it super complicated. Let's make it simple. It's being in your body. let's make it easy. It's quite literally being in your body. And I say to clients, like if I'll do an exercise with a client, I'm like, before we jump in, like, can you feel your body right now? Like, and they're like, no. So I'll be like, okay, talk to me about like, what sensations are you feeling in your body? And they're like, I don't know. I didn't realize I'm so in my head. Like I'm either so anxious or I'm thinking about like, okay, so I have to cook dinner. I have to meal prep. Then I have to pay my taxes. Like, we are so future tripping. And often we're so in our heads that being in our body isn't available to us. So I'm like, hold up, hold up, hold up. What do you feel? And they're like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's take a deep breath. And then eventually they could say, okay, sensations in my body. I'm feeling a tug in my lower back. I'm feeling some heat behind my neck, right? Like just they're slowly starting to identify like, what am I feeling in my body? And why that's perfect. I mean, that's profound for life, but especially post divorce into dating. I mean, it makes you more grounded. It makes you more alert to, the deal. We've talked about bad dates, like those SOS signs when you're on a date. You're like,
Oh, yeah.
ooh, like you could have got that clued into your body. Your body gives off those signs like, don't go, or, so the embodiment piece is so crucial, period. But especially when we're on a journey post divorce or starting dating or relationships, it's crucial.
Wow. So, two-part question. What are some of the misconceptions of dating after divorce? And why do we gravitate to someone who's just like our ex for
Oh,
the rebound? What is up with that? Is it like just just happens, or why is that?
yeah. I mean, there could be so many reasons, right? There's so many nuance in all of it. And yeah, sometimes it's like, this is familiar. I know this pattern, even though we actively think I'm never getting myself in a situation, we all, we make like, put a stake in the ground. Like I am never, that is ridiculous. And then we may go on a few dates and be like, oh, see, like this person's nothing like them. And then over time, we're like, oh, like this and it's a pattern that we're familiar with or that we know. And so, talk about rebounding often. Yeah, it's an option, right? To go out and sure, there's nothing inherently wrong or bad about that, but it does take a moment to self-reflect. And that's part of the embodiment work, right? Like really looking at, all right, like what patterns do I want to leave at the door? And do I have to heal and be with? Because if I don't, the deal. It's either going to come out in the next relationship, it's going to come out in work, it's going to come out in
Man.
money. Like, sadly, just because you left the person, or however it shook out, that pattern's still in there. Like, and talk about embodiment, that pattern's in our brain, but that pattern's in our body, right? Like that quite literally the book, The Body Keeps the Score. The body keeps the score. The brain keeps the score. So it's not just like, great, I dumped them or I'm done with that. Yeah, there might be some truth to that. And that pattern still lives within us. So we got to, I know it's not like the most glamorous thing, but we got to look at it.
Man, the pattern work. How do you help clients reconnect with their sense of aliveness, and
Ooh.
how do they lose it?
Oh my God. Every day. Every day. There's every day. There's so many ways that we lose. Like, right. First of all, we're in a society that doesn't value it. Like, it's not like go be sparkly or go live your best. Like, that's not a value. Like we value productivity and which again, nothing inherently wrong, but success and productivity and achievement. It's not like go out and be happy, so there's so many, we're already set up in a society where that's not really the vibe. And then there's 1,000,005 reasons why we disconnect, whether it be, overextending ourselves on social media or getting lost in, Netflix traps or whatever, right? There's so many ways that I ask my clients, like, where are you bleeding energy? Like, where are you bleeding out energy, if that makes sense? Or where are you starting to feel like crusty? Like where are you feeling, I feel crunchy around this. And there's a lot of ways I help folks get their radiance back or get their sparkle back, whatever, get their mojo back, fill in the word. But for me, it really comes down, there's a lot of things. It comes down to embodiment, but it also comes down to pleasure. And what I mean by the word pleasure is, I'm going to get weird here for a second. So pleasure meaning taking our current circumstances and making them just a hair more palatable, right? So it's not even like, oh, this like, wow, wildly pleasurable thing. It's like, how can I make what's in front of me more tolerable, more enjoyable? Like, how can I just put on the light a little bit more? And that could be, sure, what you think of pleasure, where, where our brain goes. Pleasure could also be like really enjoying. I always use this example, the different textures in your kombucha or in your morning coffee, or like, oh, I'm hearing, a jazz, jazz music, and I like really can hear the instruments, and wow, I feel that. I feel that through my body, instead of being like, I'm at a jazz concert, but I'm also on TikTok, and I'm also like, so, and it's funny, right? Because I'm saying pleasure and all these flashy things, but ultimately, a lot of my work is about being present to the moment. It's like really being present, and here I am right here, right now.
To enjoy the moment right now.
100%. And that's not to discount, right? Like when clients come to me, I'm like, look, like how I look at it is there's one foot in the door of here
Hmm.
we are right here, right now, right? Like this is the moment. To the best of our ability, how do we make it enjoyable or palatable or less painful? And I'm not saying then there's no future, there's no past. There is. We also have a foot in the future, right? So it's like we still could desire things. You could still want accomplishments. So we're still going after things. We're still creating. We're still um, putting our energy outward for the future.
Hmm.
And we're also being like, cool, I'm doing that. And also here I am in this conversation, really chatting with you, really jamming, really enjoying. And I also am doing things in my life to move the needle forward for what I want. Like both get to coexist.
Dang. Let's talk about self-love, because men suck at self-love.
Yeah.
Why? Why? Why do they suck at self-love, and how can they improve their self-love?
There's such a good question. I think there's so many reasons why. I think and first and foremost, I think there's a lot of shame, right?
Yep,
Of like
there is. Yeah.
self love. Oh no, that's not for me. So if we think like this is
Mhm.
not for me, that's corny, that's like that's whatever, fill in the blank of why that's not for you. You're not going to run towards that.
Nope.
Like you're not going to prioritize that. It's like that's not for me. And I honestly, and I'm in this world, I see it often, even for women, they can't really hear it or understand it because it's so. I say this, I'm so grateful that self love is becoming a theme now, but it's kind of very Instagrammable. It's very pink, it's very bubble bath, which great. Like I'm glad it's becoming a normal but pink and bubble bath and face mask and self care and self care. A lot of men are not going to and first of all, that's not what we're talking about, but if that's what's being, they're not going to gravitate towards that. They're like, that's not for me. And the self love that I'm talking about is deep self respect, deep knowing, deep honoring. When is that really a conversation for men? So, of course, folks are not going to run towards it. Men are
Correct.
not going to run towards it because it's like this. What does that self care even mean? We've made self care almost like a spa day, if that makes it right. Like one of the first images we do with self care, it's like you think of like
Nails.
exterior, yeah, exactly, nails, a face mask, but we think of the exterior, like oh, self care, self care. I'm gonna go to the movies, self care, self care. We love that if that fills your cup. But what I'm talking about is it's not an external experience. It's a deeply internal experience of knowing yourself, honoring yourself, like I said, respecting yourself, and taking care of yourself.
Yeah. So, what are some of the practical ways men can begin to love themselves again?
Oh, I love that. Oh, that's such a good question. I'm like, oh my god, we could talk about this for 5 days. So I'm like, wow, that's such a
I
good
don't
one.
think men can listen to
Yeah,
self
no,
love.
no, no. They're like, lady, get to the point. I think first and foremost, like, let's just start ground bottom of the barrel here is I think slowing down enough to listen to yourself, right? Like meaning listen to how are you speaking to yourself? Like that I feel like that I just want to start there. Like, do you even know what things you're saying about yourself? Do you even know what you want? Often like everyone falls into this, but especially when you feel like you don't deserve self-care or
Mhm.
self-care or self-love isn't for you, um we're like I don't really have wants or I don't really have needs or like I have these basic things. So I think first and foremost it's like hello, hi, where am I? Right? Like yes, I know I'm achieving and I know I'm doing these things, but like where am I? Like how is my mental health? How am I speaking to myself? Do I
Mm.
like my life? Like, do I like what's going on? It's almost like an audit, but an audit of ourselves, of like, where am I? How am I speaking to myself? Am I going towards things that light me up? Am I actually taking care of myself? And that doesn't mean the nail. If you want to, God bless. But like, am I taking care of myself? Am I fueling myself? Am I allowing myself to rest and to sleep? Do I know what I want? You're like, do I actually know what I want? And that could be as silly as, I always say to people, like, do I even know what I like to eat? Or because we often get on autopilot. Like on Tuesdays, I have turkey sandwiches and I
Mm-hmm.
go to the gym and blah, blah, blah. That's cool. But like, do I know what I want in the mundane, but also in the bigger scope of life? Or have I fallen into what I thought I was supposed to do with my life and with my time? I think that's a good, healthy start.
Hey, there you go. Excuse me. How can men identify and break negative patterns from past relationships? It's something we talked about earlier. How can we start to recognize them and not go down that road again?
Yeah, I love that. I think you nailed it in the question, like identify it. So if we're like, this is happening again, it's like
Mm-hmm.
cool. Like there's no shade, no judgment. What is that pattern? Right? Like let's identify like what is that? Fill in the blank. I'm attracting people that are unavailable or highly anxious or use me or whatever, fill in the blank. But I think identifying some of the common things that the pattern is a great start. And then from there, it's you get curious, right? And that's why people like me have my work. Sometimes we could do it alone. Sometimes we need support. It's like, okay, cool. I'm seeing that I'm actually very avoidant, and then I attract very anxious people. Cool. I know what the pattern is. Why? Or like, how can I start to shake this? Like, I don't want to, it's so tiring. You know the deal, to get back on the merry-go-round time and time again. And like, the person in front of you looks different, but it's the same old, same old, same old, same old. So it's like we want
Mm-hmm.
to, right? And it might be a little bit different, a little bit of a different flavor, but like get off the ride. Let's get off the ride and have some peace. So I think first and foremost, identify like what if this was a pattern, what does it look like? And how can I start to shift it? And again, sometimes we could do it alone. It's like, oh my God, when I was 7, this happened. That's why I do this. Or from a bit, we could identify it. Or sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it's like, and I know we're getting better as a society, but often it's hard for men to ask for help. But this is a time to ask for help, whether it be a support group, a coach, a therapist. Sometimes these patterns just need some holding, or sometimes we don't see it when we're in it. So we're like,
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm hitting my head against the wall, right? Like I know there's something. What is this? And it's nothing inherently wrong or bad that you did, but we need support of like, "Hey, have you checked this out?" And I'm like, oh, I didn't even see that because I'm so deep in it. Or thank you. I just needed that someone to like see it from a bird's eye view.
And then an extension of that is how can men recognize and cultivate authentic connections rather than superficial ones?
That's so good.
Kind of like red flags. What are some of the things that men should look out for? Because it's
Yeah.
a lot of these guys haven't been dating since the
Right. Right. So it's like this is a whole new, I feel like honestly with dating, every few years it's a whole new
yeah.
world. So that's a lot to walk into. Well, first and foremost, I want to go back to the authenticity piece, and I think you nailed it. It's funny for women too, but especially for men in the dating coaching world. Women too sometimes. Yeah, sure. But like, especially for men, there's a lot of dating coaches and dating materials that it's like, get the woman or do these 3 steps. And I think you actually, and it's like, it's enchanting. It's very like, I want to read that ebook. It's short, it's to the point, and I'm like, it's enchanting to want to, and enchanting, seductive to want to go down that route. But you asked such a beautiful question. It's like being vulnerable is half the battle. Cause I always say with clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whoever is in my room, I'm saying like, when you're on a date, do you really see the person in front of you? Like versus casting, like an image on them or, oh, they're like this and we're going to get married or whatever it is. Like, do you really see that person in front of you? Cool. Do you really, how do I say this? Are you allowing them to really see you? Because it's one
Okay.
thing to see people, right? And I see that for men a lot, they often can see, we all, I don't want to gender, but like often men are like, I could kind of see the person in front of me, but often it feels very uncomfortable to be
For them to
seen.
see you.
Exactly. And so I think that's a muscle we start to work, whether it's in dating or just in life. Like, ooh, I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable enough to be seen. That's a big muscle that, especially with my male clients, that they're like, I'm thinking about people, they're like, I saw her, I really saw, I saw the red flags, and I'm like, yes, it's awesome. And then I'm like, so are you really allowing yourself to be seen? And they're like, oh, I hate you. I'm like, I know, they're like, you're so annoying. But are you really allowing yourself to be vulnerable? And that's also where the self-love work comes in, right? Where it's like, like I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable and being seen. And if this person thinks that's weird, or, they don't jam with it, I'm going to be okay. Like, cause I have that self-love. I have that fundamental, like, I know I'm cool. Like, God bless him, wish him the best. But like, I feel safe within myself that I can carry on and carry on to the next journey.
Something I used to do, and I had to catch myself when I started dating. I always talked about my divorce. Why do men do that? I mean,
God.
and I found out eventually it was the kiss of death.
Death. But it makes sense. I mean, it makes sense, right? It's like you're coming off of this thing.
Yeah.
It's life altering. It's very personal. It also, often people, it's like, it's a way that you want to connect. So it makes sense. And also, sometimes women can feel like or anyone, but can feel like a safe space. So you're like, oh, look, I'm sharing. And it's like, it's a beautiful intention, right? Like,
But not the first date. Come on.
I know. It's a really nice intention, because you're like, I'm trying to be vulnerable. Also, I know. But right, you're trying to be vulnerable, and you're also in a way, you're also trying to be like, and you're not like this, right? Or you're trying to you're both like, you're doing both, right? You're like 2-for-1 special. I'm being vulnerable, but I'm also checking, like, do you fit in this category? So great intention. Yeah, I'm taking notes.
Oh my God.
But yeah, it's as you know, it's like, oh, like it's not the vibe. It's not the vibe. But again, beautiful desire. It makes sense why it's available. It's right on the top of our heart, so it comes up and out. But yeah, it's the deal. It squashes the vibe. Just kills it.
How can men set healthy boundaries with new partners? That's a tough one for men, because they don't want to step on any toes. So the boundaries kind of go out the door and things get crazy. How can they set up healthy boundaries?
I love that. I think first and foremost, identifying boundaries in your life and with yourself. A lot of my male clients, it's funny, I actually literally had someone this week, and we were going through dating profile questions, and I think it was on Hinge, and he was like, oh, one of them said, what are my boundaries? And I'm like, great, what did you put? He's like, I have no idea. I'm like, cool. Like that, and I hear that all the time with my men clients, like, different. Yeah, exactly. Like, what is this question? Where women are like, hello, what's the, like, tell me, I will tell you all of, for some people, I'll tell you all my boundaries. But a lot of my male clients are like, I don't even know what are you what does this entail? What does this mean? So I think first and foremost, like, what are my boundaries in life? But also, what are my boundaries with myself? That's going back to the self-respect piece, the self-love piece. It's like, do I have boundaries with myself? Or am I like, do I respect myself enough to put boundaries up with myself? Silly as like, am I scrolling till 2:00 in the morning and it feels like horrible, but I like, do I have boundaries where it's like, I made a commitment to myself to move my body, to do this? Am I honoring that? So it's very deeply connected to self-respect. So first and foremost, naming boundaries within our own life, right? Like, are starting to like put open our eyes a little bit deeper and saying, like, where do I have boundaries in life? And not barriers, right? Not barriers, not walls, but how am I honoring myself? And then from there, what are boundaries in relationships? What does that even mean? Am I cool if someone calls me? We just went on one date. Am I cool if they call me every day? Like, actually, am I cool with that? Maybe. Do I want to text from morning to night? Right? Like, Or am I doing this because I feel bad? I don't want her to feel rejected. Or, am I like,
Yep.
what honestly, and this goes back to the pleasure piece, like what feels good? What feels good in our systems with dating? Like, it would feel really good. And again, there's some compromise there, but it would feel really good maybe to just send a goodnight text. I don't have capacity though from morning to night sending back and forth text, but like from a dating perspective, what would feel really good for me? And then if she needs something else, we could talk about it and compromise. But like, what are my healthy boundaries, not barriers?
How can men do a better job? I'm trying to word this question. How can men do a better job with creating realistic expectations on intimacy, sex, and dating?
Well, you just nailed
Because
it.
there's so many unrealistic expectations when you start.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. That's why I was like, you just nailed it in the question. I'm like, yep,
How
yep.
how can they get that center and say, hey, I'm not 21 anymore. I'm 45 and things are a little different. So how can they be ready to accept that better?
Yeah, and let's be honest, right? There's not many great role models of what that realistically looks like. We have celebrity culture, and, pardon my French, but a lot of men don't have healthy mentors in this area. So where do you go to? Porn.
Yep.
Is it, is that it? Hello? That's show business, show business.
So
So that
realistic. So realistic.
I'm like, that is what every situation is going to be. Go out there.
Perfect.
You're good. Right. But it's like there's not a lot of healthy mentors or examples or data. So, yeah, you're going to go to those, you're going to lean on those things. And then when that doesn't hit, you're going to be like, this is wrong. I'm wrong. She's wrong. Or this is wrong. Wrong, bad. I'm unsatisfied. So it's a bummer. Like it actually is a bummer that there's not more healthy role models, examples, and it's kind of our responsibility to find realistic expectations of
Mhm.
what do I really desire, crave in intimacy? Because right now my view is so skewed. Like this is Hollywood. Like this is, and it's often for women, for everyone, right? But for women, our version of that could be sure porn too, but is the Disney princess, right? So it's like we have the Disney princess or we have the rom-coms of,
Mhm.
oh, and then he's gonna come in my way. And I'm talking very, very gendered, but you know what I'm saying, right? We all fit into this in different ways. Oh, he's gonna come away with the horse and all my problems are gonna be washed away and I'm gonna be like we have these skewed, or my life is gonna be a rom-com. And and then when that doesn't happen, there's so much wrongness placed on us, placed on the guy. This is wrong. I got to break up with them. Bad, 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 which is intense. So we all have deep conditioning or deep unconditioning to do around like what is healthy and what do I really need in this relationship intimately across the board.
It'd be like www like realexpectationsex.com.
Right. Literally. Literally. It's so true.
Could be a bunch of pictures.
Exactly. This is
This
more
is
the vibe.
it could be, but this is the way it is.
But
Um,
right when you think about it, it's like we have from think about just the porn aspect, right? Years and years and years and years of, or not even that, just watching a Netflix show or
yep.
watching a show. We have years of conditioning of what this should look like. And also talk about embodiment. Sorry, I was like, I have to get back to this. It's so good. But talk about embodiment often because it's from our head. We're like, oh, this is what it should look like.
Mhm.
This is what it should look like. We don't even know, like, what does my body like? What do I even like? I don't know. I just watched it on a screen and I was taught that this is what I'm supposed to like. It's like, what does your body like? This sounds crazy, but really, and I don't even, sure, this could be sexually, but non sexually too. Like, do I like feather like touch? Or do I want more like
Okay.
firm touch? Or I want someone to be really present or someone softer. Like, we don't even have awareness of that because we're so wrapped into our head, wrapped into what we've seen of this is what I'm supposed to
Mm.
want. And this is how it's supposed to be, which sucks. It robs us of our own experience.
Now, is that what you call embodied intimacy?
Yes. Love
Okay.
that. You nailed it.
Yeah. And so how do you develop it then?
Love this. You start to build this relationship by knowing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So often I'll ask clients like, well, what do you like? And they're like, I don't know. Like, let's backtrack before we even go intimately. Like, what do you even like to eat? And they're like, I don't know. Again, I get a turkey sandwich every Tuesday because it's close to my office. I don't really know. And so I have a tool. It's called Pleasure Research. It's from one of my teachers, Regina Thomas-Schauer. And pleasure research is almost as if you're a kid again, exploring the world for the first time. So I used to do this work, when I first got this tool, I'd be like, I hate sushi, I hate sushi, I hate sushi. And then I was like, do I even know if I like sushi? Like, I made that proclamation and I'm like, I don't even know if I knew. And so for the sake of pleasure research, I was like, I'm just going to try. And I was like, oh, what's this? Like, I actually do I want it every day? No. But I was like, I actually like this. I didn't know, like, I was so on autopilot. I didn't really know what music I like really liked, really was moved by. I didn't really know what food I like, sure, like the general, of course. But so I invite pleasure research, and that could be, you start that with the five senses, right? Like, that could
Yep.
be smell, scent, whatever, all those. And then intimately, when you are in those intimate moments, whether it's with a partner or with yourself, is it bada bing, bada boom? We go through the same routine, like, well, it's time for an intimacy, 1, 2, 3 step, the usual, which is cool. Or is it like, are you asking yourself, what does my body want? And today like, I don't know if I want aggressive or I don't know if I want this. Like, do we even know what type of touch we like? When I was doing my sexual empowerment certifications, our teacher would always say, but before you jump into any exercise, whether it's sexual or any exercise, like, I need you to ask your body, like, almost like, do I have consent for this? Like, is it cool if we
Mhm.
move forward? Because we're, the deal. It's like, we're so like, let's go, let's get this over with. So I know I'm going on a rant here, but I think it's really important that's part of the embodiment. Like, do I even know what feels good? Or am I doing the same old routine? And this sounds like wild, but I have my clients, like, in their solo practice, like, change things up, like, listen to music. Do you like that? Or was that so distracting, annoying? Light some candles. Did you like that? I hated it. Or what, like, just start to research, like, this touch. I always go right to, forgive, part of my French, but like, I go right to my genitals. Like, maybe not. Maybe like, oh, I had a really hard day.
Change it up.
I'm just gonna touch my neck for a second, just like take a deep breath and touch my belly or whatever. But it's like, we so often have no idea where our body is and what we want. So this conversation is like, I invite us to start to know and investigate what we want
Mhm.
intimately, but also like as a human walking through life.
Wow. So you've got, well, it's been just over a half hour, and my men have a half hour attention span. So
Same.
you've got the attention of all my men out there, and you can give them 3 pieces of advice on the way out. What would they be?
Oh, that's so good. Okay. I'm going to make this bullet point. I have to say pleasure. So pleasure can be a healing. Pleasure is for
Mhm.
you, and pleasure is a healing modality is one. And like we talked about, that could be what we just talked about, right? We just came off of this topic. Like, you're worthy of investigating what lights you up, what feels good. Let's try to do that. Number 2 is self-love, self-respect, self-care is for everyone. And it's also not a treat. It's not a treat at the end. It's not a cherry on top. It's fundamental for our growth and our thriving. And number 3, thriving and having a life you love isn't corny. It's not a silly, frivolous thing. It's your birthright. And I encourage you, you are worthy of creating a life that feels really good, that lights you up, that is filled with purpose, filled with what makes you feel alive, and you're worthy of that. And it's your birthright, so don't waste it.
All right, Erica, you knocked it out of the park. Good job.
Thank you. This was a ball.
Fun. Oh yeah, man, you gotta spice it up a little bit, man. You gotta have it's almost like hot ones without the hot sauce.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I love it. I
Let
love
the,
it.
let the men out there know where to find you on the internet.
Yes. So you can visit me at www.wethelight.org. I'll make my speech really quick. I love free resources, and I love giving free resources to different folks for different things, right? So on the website, you can find my podcast, my blog, And I also offer a free introduction session, which is totally complimentary. It's a full session for folks to get a taste of like, hey, Erica, I want to work through this. It's quite literally no strings attached. So if you're like, I like your vibe, like, let's jam, we jam. If you're like, I like your
Mm-hmm.
vibe, but I want to work with a man, I'll recommend you. So it's like, I always say to people, take that, because I don't always offer it. I don't always offer that free
Mm-hmm.
session, that free consultation. It's a great starting point. And like we talked about in this conversation, we need to be held, whether in all the ways we need to be held by community. So I'm like, take this resource. It's free. I want to be
Mm-hmm.
there with you. I'll be your biggest cheerleader and companion. So go to wethelight.org and you can get all the free goodies. And I also have an ebook, but get those free goodies because you're worthy and deserving of that.
All right, Erica, thanks for your time this morning.